before we get started proper, we had our big Disneyland trip. But why don't we go through briefly? And our last episode was pretty eclectic because we were recording inside the park. Let's quickly recap what it was like to spend Thanksgiving Day inside Disneyland. I mean, we already talked about like security and all that. I did enjoy the fact that we started out the day seeing a pretty big family fight. And it's a little bit selfish of me. I was super annoyed at them before because they were driving really poorly, and I think they cut me off
right.
too. So
yeah.
It's not right that I was kind of glad that they were having a bad time right off the bat. But they weren't very nice drivers.
The poor kids. I felt, was there two kids?
I think there was only one.
I kind of don't make eye contact or look at people fighting. I just hurry away from them.
Yeah, they were pretty upset out the gate, but I hope they had a nice Thanksgiving.
The mom was really upset. I think the dad was kind of like, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, because he cut me off.
Yeah, maybe she was mad because we had parked next to them and she was trying to make it clear that she was mad that he had done.
There we go. And they went on and had a wonderful day.
I hope so. But that's the one thing with Disneyland is I feel like we are running into more people fighting. And I mean, there has been news about fights happening in Disneyland.
Yeah, some weird stuff in the parks.
But I'm like, so much for the happiest place on earth. Like, why are these people even here?
It's a lot of pressure. I mean,
we had our moments.
There's a mythos around Disneyland that other parks don't suffer. You know, Disneyland has that tagline, the happiest place on earth. It is the most popular theme park in the entire world.
Yeah.
Which is why you can go to Knott's Berry Farm and just have a fine old time because there's no expectations.
This is jumping ahead, but I think that's why I enjoyed Universal so much.
Yeah.
Is I went in with no expectations. Not because I thought it wasn't going to meet them, but I just didn't have time to have expectations for it and ended up having a blast.
Yeah. So would you ever go back into Disneyland for Thanksgiving?
On Thanksgiving Day?
On Thanksgiving Day.
No, I think that's something I experienced once. Now, if someone were like, here's a ticket that's only good on Thanksgiving Day, I'd be like, yes, I'll go. Yeah. It was fun. It was chaotic. One time was good. There was a lot of people there. So some of the advice online was like, Thanksgiving is dead. There's no one there. And other people are like, it's so busy now. So I think it used to be a quiet holiday in the parks. And then everyone was like, it's a quiet holiday in the parks. Let's go. Yeah. So it wasn't. And I did not expect it to be quiet. I expected it to be busy. I expected it to be busier than it was. So then I was prepared for how it was actually.
Yeah, it was quite busy. That was interesting and it was unique and it was pretty fun to do. And we got to try the Thanksmas sandwich, which that was the last day to try it.
Yep.
We did it. We liked it. That was fun.
For our normal days at Disneyland, we usually take a break back at the hotel. So that is normal for us to take a break in the afternoon. But to go and do an activity with the kids, like Thanksgiving, I think one of them fell asleep in the car, but not the other one.
We all fell asleep in the car. We went and parked at a Costco parking lot.
Not the oldest. He had a phone or a book or something.
Did he?
Yeah,
he went to an empty Costco parking lot and fell asleep.
Yeah, not having that downtime in the middle of a Disney day made it... I mean, it worked for one day, but when we go like 3 to 5 days at a time... Yeah, so definitely you have to be like a one-day thing. So Thanksgiving was good. I don't think we talked about in our in-park recordings about the dance party. We might have.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think we did. Go for it.
There was a dance party on the stage next to Galactic Grill. And a lot of different characters came out to dance with the person running the dance party. Our boys absolutely loved that. I went and ran and got food, so I missed part of it. So I didn't get to see the whole thing, but one of our kids loves Marie from Aristocats. And she and the two boy cats, I can't remember their names, were one of the trio that came out to do one of the songs of the dance party. And so our oldest is leaning against the stage. I think you got a picture of him, and you can tell that he's trying to yell out, "I love you."
Like a teenage girl reaching for Elvis Presley.
So he was absolutely thrilled with that. Our youngest got a little wild, so he had to come sit with me after a bit. Yeah, so the dance party was a lot of fun. I think it was like 45 minutes, or was it half an hour or something?
And the stage was super cool too.
Much longer than I expected, and lots of different characters. If they have dance parties over at Galactic Grill and you're at Disneyland and you've got kids, go over there. It gets out a ton of their energy, like their crazy energy, because I know kids are like, I can't walk anywhere. But as soon as there's like music, they're dancing like crazy. And I don't follow that logic, but... Yeah, we did Runaway Railway that night, which was a lot of fun. I think we did it earlier. And then you bought the Runaway Railway sweatshirt,
I did
blue
get
sweatshirt.
A nice, comfy sweatshirt. I should be wearing it now, but
I know. That'd be good because I'm wearing a Disneyland sweatshirt. We had told the kids that we weren't buying any souvenirs that day. And then I was like, well, we're going to break the rule. And
except for Dad.
Dad is going to buy a sweatshirt. And then we got to see the lighting of the castle. I think that was like at 8 o'clock or something. Cool. And we called it a night.
It was a fun, eventful Thanksgiving day.
It was.
Let's go ahead and start the episode.
To all Disney adults and morbidly curious casuals, we proudly present our spectacular festival pageant of theme park ramblings and peculiar opinions in thousands of seconds of average quality sounds of Mice and Matterhorns podcast.
I'm your host, Daniel, and with me is
Shannon.
And this is Of Mice and Matterhorns, a podcast revealing the mystery of and reveling alongside Disney adults. And for the next little bit, we're going to be recapping our pretty long trip to the Disneyland Resort, including a day at Universal Studios. We did a kind of one day here, one day there type of situation. Rather than just go day by day, we're focusing on parks. So today we're going to go over our 2 days in
California Adventure. So that was a few days later that we did our second day. We moved hotels so that we would be closer. We were still a bit of a walk, but we were at the Alpine Inn, and we spent one night in a double queen, right?
Yes.
And then I did not sleep well on our trip at all. Sleeping in a queen bed with Daniel is not something I'm used to. We have a king bed at home.
We switched to a king and got used to it real fast.
And so now when we go on trips and I have to sleep in a queen, when we went last January, there was 2 queen beds, just the 2 of us. We ended up sleeping in separate beds
because accidentally touched each other.
Because I couldn't sleep.
How horrible, huh?
So after one night in this hotel, or was it 2 nights? It was 2 nights. So it was 2 nights in a two queen room. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And checked their website, and they had a 2-room available. It had a king and 2 queens. And I thought, perfect, because the boys can't sleep together either. So one was on a mattress on the floor. And so, yeah, we got to move rooms. So that delayed the start of one of our Disney days. But it was okay because then I slept.
That's
anyway.
Alpine Inn overall, great hotel. My only complaint was it was a bit of a walk.
And you had to encounter quite a few homeless people.
Unhoused people.
Unhoused people on our walk to the hotel. And
it was
some indecencies with that.
Some pretty extreme stuff that I hadn't experienced in Anaheim before. But,
yeah. So, and gross stuff on the sidewalk. And yeah, so that was the only downside. And it's not the hotel's fault, obviously, because it was by a convenience store, but you had to walk by the convenience store to get to the hotel. So because our kids have car seats still, we couldn't do this. But what the front desk at Alpine Inn said is, so a lot of people Uber from Disneyland back to their hotel. And they said, don't Uber from that Disneyland area. It gets so congested and so busy. Yeah, and so they said, cross the street to IHOP and Uber from there. So if we didn't have kids in car seats, we totally would have done that, because they said it's like $6. And I was like, I totally would have done that at the end of a night, just Ubered back. But without car seats, we can't.
And we'll have to try the Candy Cane Inn sometime, which was nearby, and one we've wanted to try for a while, but they have a shuttle service, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. And I would say it's probably half the distance of Alpine. So
really? Okay.
Anyway, overall, Alpine Inn was great. It was a very nice, clean hotel. Lots of space in that 2-bedroom one.
Very accommodating. Mm-hmm. They helped us out when our oldest slipped in the shower and pulled the entire shower curtain down. Very nice. And they let us check out later, too.
Yes, they gave us a late checkout. Okay, so back to California Adventure. So that was days 2 and 4. So a Monday and a Thursday of the next week. Our first day, we had, and this was, I think, in one of our other episodes, but I'll go over outfits really quick. So our youngest loves Spider-Man, and so he had requested that I be Ghost Spider. So he was Spider-Man, I was Ghost Spider. Then Daniel was a combination of Doctor Strange with a Spider-Man shirt, and then our oldest had a Captain America sweatshirt and t-shirt.
And it was warm in California, so the sweatshirts did come off pretty early on.
You didn't even bring a sweatshirt that day.
Really? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I didn't bring my cool Doctor Strange sweatshirt.
Yeah, so we started off with a picture by the big Christmas tree at the middle of Buena Vista Street. And I took a picture of a family, so they took one of us. So that was really nice to get one in front of the tree. We never got one when it was lit up at night.
No, and
that's
that's
okay.
Even with how busy the entire time was, I want to emphasize the fact that like being in the Disneyland Resort when they're decked out for Christmas is an experience in and of itself because of how nice all the decorations are and how many there are.
Yeah, and then Daniel and our oldest decided that they wanted to do Guardians of the Galaxy.
It finally happened.
Yeah.
He's finally liking Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, so the
best
last
ride in that
time
resort.
the last time we were in California Adventure was January of 22, and our oldest like was so anxious he got sick just thinking about going on that ride. And so I was like, Daniel, you've got to back off and not bug him about this anymore. And this time he asked to go on it. So the youngest and we went to, the first thing we did, sorry, we're backing up, and I'm blanking on the name. Is it Five and Dime? Is that the store at the front?
Yeah, I think so.
So our oldest really wanted to buy something, and he had on Thanksgiving, and we had said we're not buying any souvenirs. So the first thing we did was to go into Five and Dime and go get him the little Grogu shoulder pet.
Oh, yes.
So
shoulder pets.
He had that, but he did not want to take it on Guardians because he was worried that he would lose it. So the youngest and I took that with us to Pim Test Kitchen, where we got breakfast. And we took pictures of Grogu eating and drinking, pretending, and sent them to Daniel so he could show our oldest.
Yeah, he loved it.
While he was in line. And so
yep.
Our youngest was having a blast, being like, let's pretend to have him do this and this. And then he ate all of Daniel's breakfast.
Yeah, he did.
He loved the French toast. They changed the French toast.
I thought you meant Grogu. I think
no, our youngest.
Right.
They changed up the French toast, and it's way better than it used to be. I mean, it was good before, but it's like amazing now. And there's like a blueberry syrup with it. So it was really good.
Pim's a solid restaurant. Probably my favorite quick service there.
And the cold brew.
We tried a lot of cold brews this trip, and that one was my favorite.
And do you remember the name of it?
I do. It was, hold on, the Infusion Cold Brew.
Yep.
And it was basically
cinnamon and spice.
It was a cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah.
Cold brew with caramel.
There was cinnamon toast crunch on the top.
It was delicious.
Mm-hmm.
So we met up after that. We went to Guardians of the Galaxy. You all were eating breakfast. We came and scarfed down breakfast, and then we together all went and did the worst ride in the resort. Web Slingers. Oh, I should save that for our hot takes episode. Sorry. We went and did Web Slingers.
Because that's our youngest favorite ride. Because he loves Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, you all like it, right? I don't. I mean, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I like it. I think the line was only like 25 minutes. Lines can get long for that one, but they can also be short. So I will never wait longer than 25 minutes for that ride. So it was at 25 minutes. I'm like, we're doing it now. And it's a good thing because the rest of our time there, it was always over 40 minutes.
Now, both of our kids are old enough to do single rider because you can do single rider with a child if they're over 7 years old. Our oldest and I did end up doing this later on, and we were able to almost walk onto the ride. So if there's a ride that has single rider available and that's something you want to utilize it. I had never really utilized it much before our last trip, and doing it this trip as well really cut down on some of our time, which is nice.
Just our youngest was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to make you do that. Have a panic attack. Not something we want to incur. So I beat everyone with my score of 244,500.
Yeah, I think I got around there.
Daniel had 142,500.
You didn't have to. Oh, you took a picture.
Our oldest had 114,000, so pretty close to Daniel. And our youngest had 36,900, which I think is his highest score. We all did fairly well. I just need to point out that I beat Daniel at a game in Disneyland.
I don't think I beat you.
I got 100,000 more than you.
Yeah.
I just have to rub it in because I can't beat you at Astro Blasters, and I cannot beat you at Toy Story Mania.
I think something was wrong with the...
So I just have to revel in this.
Dear. That's not why it's my least favorite ride. That isn't
it
at
is.
all.
It is. I know it is. And then Daniel went with our oldest single rider on Radiator Springs Racers.
Yep.
And our youngest did not want to, so we kind of hung out in Avengers Campus a little bit longer. And we happened across an Avengers show up on that building. I can never remember the name of it, but there was like Hawkeye and Kate.
Oh, okay. From
Kate?
the show?
Yeah. They were supposed to be decorating the campus for Christmas, and the bad guys showed up. And so they ended up having to use all their decorations to fight the bad guys. And the rest of the Avengers showed up. So our youngest loved it. He he was really enjoying that. So I was glad we caught it because I hadn't checked the schedule for it at all.
Yeah, and we did Radiator Springs Racers, and we shaved probably an hour off our time by doing single rider on that one as well, which was nice.
Oh, and then that's when our youngest got mad at me.
Oh, he was
was
very mad about something.
So we went into the Web Slingers store, and both boys already have the spider bots that have remote controls. We bought them in January 22 trip. They don't play with them ever. We got them home. They played with them for maybe a month, and then they haven't touched them since. Now, if we had a shelf to display them, that'd probably work well. Well, there was a mini spider bot, and our youngest was like, I want to buy this. I'm like, it's $40. So each of our kids, this time I was like, you save your allowance. I'm not buying you souvenirs. So every souvenir they bought minus, we bought them each a sweatshirt because of different events. And that was unplanned. And then we bought them each like another thing, like for like $20, just to be like, okay, here you go. But everything else they had to buy. And so our youngest was like, I want this miniature spider bot. And I'm like, what are you going to do with it? I don't know. I want it. And I was like, this is like the first day. We've got 5 days left of parks, including Universal. You're probably not going to want to spend $40 here because they only had 65 total. Yeah. That was it. And so he was mad at me for the next hour. And he just like, he wouldn't smile at me.
He gets real mopey when he gets...
He didn't want to go on any rides. So we would just like walk around and yeah. So I should have just let him waste his money so I didn't have to ruin an hour of my day. Yeah. So what felt like an hour, I'm not 100% sure how long it was. It felt like an hour that he was mad at me.
The grumpiest little guy drinking the Santa Claus hot chocolate.
Yeah, so I finally got him a Santa Claus hot chocolate to try to cheer him up. I'm like, maybe he needs sugar. I mean, we had sugar for breakfast, but maybe he needs more.
Well, that's some Disney logic.
So, yeah. So that was a wonderful start to that day. Then we headed over to the pier because Feliz Navidad. Viva Navidad?
Viva Navidad, yeah.
So Viva Navidad has a parade on the pier by Paradise Garden Grill. And so we headed down there there's a pizza place down there for our oldest, and then our youngest wanted a corn dog. So we headed down there. I let the boys go on the jumping jellyfish like 3 times. And then Daniel got some video of the parade, which is really fun. We got to see it at night one other time too. Then they got their food, and then our youngest finally started to cheer up. Did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, yeah, the entertainment they do in that area down by the pier is always really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like DCA does some pretty solid entertainment because that, and in the drummers we ran into a few times were also really cool. We never sat and watched them for a long period of time, or I didn't anyway. But it was fun to see sort of the spontaneous winter entertainment pop up too.
Mm-hmm. So after we got the kids fed, we decided that they needed to run off some of their energy because, walking through California Adventures is so hard, but yet they have so much energy at the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail, which is a really cool playground. A really, really cool playground. But I did not pay that kind of money for a playground. So I always have a hard time wanting to spend time there.
It's tough with how old our kids are now because they want that agency, they want that freedom, which means that their favorite things to do are going to be the things like the dance party or Redwood Challenge Creek Trail or Tom Sawyer Island, which doesn't always align with what we want to do.
Yes. So we need to bring a nanny with us from now on.
Yeah.
So Daniel went and sat with them, and we got the Sip and Savor Pass because there's Festival of the Holidays, as we talked about one of our previous episodes, of all the foods. And so this was the food booths, and we had gotten the Sip and Savor Pass. And so I went to a few of the booths and grabbed food and brought it to Daniel, and we tried it while the kids were playing. So that was kind of fun. Like we had something to do while they were playing. They got to do what they wanted, and they got to see Chip, I think it was. They got to do duck races.
Yeah, the duck races was cool. I'd never noticed them do that before, but they have a cast member with rubber duckies that'll take the kids over to a bridge, throw a bunch of ducks into the creek, and then they all chase them and quack and see who wins. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they get to walk along the creek and just watch their ducks float down. There's also like a zip line
Oh,
like
yeah.
a seat zip line. Our youngest loved that. He would just keep going around and around and around. And this time he's old enough that we didn't have to stand in line with him for anything. The first time
That
I
was
did.
nice.
And then after that, he's like, I can do this. And I'm like, okay. Cause he's a little bit more cautious than our oldest. And yeah. And then he just would run off and do stuff. Our oldest found out that there was like you could earn cards by doing different challenges.
Oh.
So he was all into that. And
There's an incident with that too. We'll get to that later.
they were just having a blast in there. It's like they probably would have spent the whole day there. I wish they had like a check-in service, kind of like IKEA does, that the daycare.
Hey, the cruise ships do. Maybe we should go on a Disney cruise sometime.
No, they would really pulling for that cruise.
They would have gladly spent the entire day there, I think.
Oh yeah,
and they'd have been thrilled with it.
Yep, we would have dealt with no arguing or complaining the entire day.
It was good to give them that chance, though, to have that agency to run off that steam and do what they wanted without us hovering, because it's so crowded that I feel like we have to be right on them at other areas of the park, and places like this in Toontown, they could run. They didn't have to have us hovering over them, and I think they liked that.
Are we going to talk about specific foods or not so much?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about everything we wanted to try, but we should talk about maybe quickly the stuff that we did try and what we thought of it, because I was a little disappointed in some and really loved others.
Did you write down everything? Because I did not.
Yeah, so in terms of Festival of the Holidays, you went and got food. I've got the beef brisket slider, the churro toffee cold brew.
How about we rate them as we go?
Okay. Beef brisket slider. Was really looking forward to that. I thought it was a little too tomatoey, but it was good. It was tasty.
I would say I'd give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay. That's about accurate, I guess. The churro toffee cold brew, I have a little star by it. So I must have liked it. Honestly, I don't remember.
When you tried that one, you told me that one was your favorite over the infusion one. But
now we got the infusion one again, and I think it bumped it up. But I'm a big sucker for toffee though too, and it had toffee chunks on it. So at least the whipped cream and the toffee were good.
Forget the coffee.
So,
who needs that? There. Yeah. So I would say that was so we are copying Ordinary Adventures. They rate foods their name out of 5. So with Kitra's, it's 5 Kitra's if she really likes it. It's 5 Peters if he likes it. And then if they both give it 5 of themselves, they give it the Ordinary Adventure star. So that's why we're referencing that.
Yeah.
We're using their same scale. So I give that 5 Shannons.
Well, 5 Shannons.
Yeah,
very nice.
I guess I should go with their whole scale. So then we give it our OfMiceandMatterhorns star.
Yeah, sure. That's what our oldest kept saying because he's so indoctrinated by their channel too. The adobo pork. This was something everyone loved. You were excited about it. You'd had it last year. We got it. What did you think?
I give it 4 Shannons.
It was like 2.5 for me.
Yeah, I was shocked you didn't like it more.
Salty. It was, which is crazy because I've known to have accidentally eaten a can of condensed chicken noodle soup without diluting it with water and enjoyed it. So like,
I did not think it was too salty. I did not. So I was shocked that you thought that.
It was fine. And I like adobo. So I don't know.
Now, I did not eat the fat of the meat, and you might have. So that might have been the difference. I ate more of the meat.
I just ate the fat. And then the fundito dip, the vegan fundito dip. Delicious. Loved it. In sort of a ballpark nacho sort of way. What did you think?
Well, here's the thing. When I saw that it was Impossible meat, I assumed that the cheese was impossible too. I thought the impossible at the beginning was describing the whole dish. Started eating it and thought, boy, this tastes like real cheese. So I ate a few more bites, and then at the next booth when I was picking up the pork adobo and the coffee, I was like, can you check if this is cheese? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, can you find out, please? And so she goes and asks someone else, and they don't know. So they go to ask someone else. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's real cheese. It's just Impossible meat. I am dairy intolerant. I am not lactose intolerant. I am dairy intolerant. So that was not good to be eating cheese. We had our
Christmas flavored Tums, our Lactaid. We tried, but yeah.
Yeah, that was disappointing. It tasted really good, but not worth the pain that I was in.
I enjoyed it. It's pretty tasty. And our oldest was collecting all those cards, and we decided to do Grizzly River Run, but our oldest didn't want to go on it that time, right? Yep. So you and our youngest went on it, and I was there with him, with our oldest. We were going to get pictures of you all going down the hill and everything. Well, I leave our oldest for 30 seconds. I think I went to go take advantage of the free locker that they have there. You can utilize it for 2 hours. I put stuff in and I walk over and he's kind of looking over at the fence and he's very upset. And I said, what happened? And he had dropped all his cards over the fence in the 30 seconds that I was gone. And I was like, what are you? And it was one of many things where I was just like, how could this happen? And so we went and talked to a cast member and they were fantastic. And something I think both of us utilized this trip was in the app, you can leave cast compliments. I tried to do that any chance that I could, that I thought that somebody really helped us out or went above and beyond. And this was one of those instances. So not only did the cast member get a grabber and reach over the fence to get his cards for him, they also gave him a booklet and about 6 other of those safety cards. So he was rewarded for his misdeeds. How was Grizzly River for you all?
It was fun. So we were with a family of 6, and they had a little one. So it was like, I want to say a grandma, a mom and dad, a little kid, and then maybe like a couple uncles of the little kid. I wasn't really sure. And so we were standing in line waiting, and they were talking about how the queue for the ride used to go. And the one guy was like, no, you used to come down the stairs to get on the ride, and then you'd walk out the ramp that we were currently standing on. And they're like, no, that's not how it was at all. And I finally was like, I can't take this anymore. And so I was like, I don't mean to interrupt, but he is right. You used to come down the stairs to get on the ride. And he's like, yes.
You tore that family apart. They were fighting the whole rest of the day after that.
Then we had to ride the ride with him. No, it was totally fine. So then we rode the ride with them.
Wrecker.
And the little boy was probably like 5, maybe 4. And he was terrified. So as we're like starting, it's pretty gentle. And so they were asking our youngest, like, oh, do you like this ride? He's like, yeah. There was 4 of their family on one side and then 2 on our side. And so our youngest did not want to sit in the middle seat. So he was by the open stairs, but he did not want to sit next to the stranger.
Did he want to get wet? Because he did when we went on it later. That was like his goal.
Really?
That's why he
with
sat
you?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was bummed he wasn't
he had planned to sit in the middle, but he did not want to sit by a stranger. So he sat on the outside. So he was telling that he just said yes, so he loves this ride. So I was talking with the family and said, well, the poor little kid was terrified the whole time, but we had a good time. We didn't get that wet either.
It's a rough little ride though, too, for one of those like round raft rapid rides. I grew up going to Knott's Berry Farm, as I mentioned before. They had something called Bigfoot River Rapids, which has changed. I think it's like Cascades something, but it was a longer ride, but it was not nearly as rough, didn't have as big of drops. So this one, they really go for it in terms of getting people wet. And we saw some people get pretty soaked on it, which was fun.
Yeah. On the next day. Yeah. And so then we did rider swap, and then Daniel went on it with him. And at this point, he didn't want to go again, but then it sounds like he had a good time with you anyway.
Yeah. And I think at this point is when I realized, I have written down that I realized I was in an accidental Winnie the Pooh bound, because I had a red shirt and I had my yellow shorts on again.
Yeah, that morning I'd been like, are you sure you want to wear the yellow shorts? And you were like,
They're
yep,
so comfortable.
They're comfortable. I was like, okay.
So my Winnie the Pooh bound is very popular. I also found out
Yeah.
too. There was a lot of people doing that. I guess it's easy.
With the
Red
ears
shirt.
too. So after that ride, we headed back to the hotel to take our normal rest. And I think we were gone like 2.5 hours. So then we went back and had a rest.
And then we got in the park and we had the best food that we had the entire time.
Yeah.
So we went and got the Filipino Feast burrito.
Mm-hmm.
Last time they had the bulgogi beef burrito. Not last time. Lunar New Year last year, they had a bulgogi beef burrito, ramen burrito.
Mm-hmm.
And I was excited about that. A little disappointing. It was fine. Nothing I would ever forget again. So I was cautiously optimistic. All the people that we watch and listen to seemed to like the burrito.
Mm-hmm.
But the description, I mean, it was a burrito that had pancit, which is a noodle dish that I really like, lumpia, and pork adobo in it. Whew, and with the chili dipping sauce, sweet chili dipping sauce. It was so good.
Yes.
It was as good as it sounded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And our youngest, the rest of the trip, there was rice in it too.
Yep.
Our youngest, the rest of the trip, kept on trying to describe this thing to me. And I could not figure out what he was talking about. And he'd always talk about it in Disneyland. And so then I was like, okay, it must be a food in Disneyland. And finally, on our last day in Disneyland, so we'd already done our second day of California Adventure, I figured out he was talking about the Filipino Feast burrito. And I was like, I'm so sorry. We can't get it anymore. But I have been like trying to get him to give us details can be challenging. And because he just assumes what he's talking about. And so trying to get details out of him is really hard. But he loved it too. He did not want the chili dipping sauce, but him and I split one. So the Filipino feast burrito, I'm going to give a 4 Shannons. And Daniel...
5 stars.
Yeah, and I'm going to give it 4 only because my tortilla was a bit... harder. That's when we did Monsters Inc. was right after we finished eating because it had been closed down. It opened and we literally walked onto the ride. It was great. No wait.
Soaring over the world, you were annoyed because there were some teenagers screaming the whole time next to us.
Next to me.
Next to you specifically. Very annoying.
And then so it's Soaring Over the World right now. And we came to the Taj Mahal and they screamed like, we don't know what that is. And I was like, it's the Taj Mahal.
Anyway, our oldest thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
They were extremely annoying and it was difficult because I know that had it been me, I'd have been doing the same thing at that age.
Which is why
that was who you ended up marrying, was a kid like that.
So they allow kids 7 and older to roam the park without supervision. They can get on, can get on rides at that age. They can get on rides at 7 by themselves.
So the kids can run free
I
next
cannot
time.
believe that Disneyland has that rule. And not only were we on the ride, was I on the ride next to them, I had to wait the entire 40 minutes next to them, bumping into me, kicking my butt because they were trying to sit up on the little handrails and then it accidentally hit my butt. They were just so obnoxious. And I was like, this is why we parent, so that our children do not end up like this. So Luigi's Rollickin' Roaster, what was it?
Roast and Rollickers.
Roast and Rollickers?
Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters.
Roadsters, here we go. Played Christmas music and it has lights strung across.
Yes.
And our oldest loves it and I love it. Daniel hates it and he always tries to rain on our parade. And
it's just a long line and it's cooler to watch than it is to ride. It's fun to ride.
Hey, that's your opinion.
In my opinion.
No, you're interrupting my opinion. You can wait.
Let's hear your opinion.
So it's just fun. Our oldest likes to go on it with me and he just giggles the whole time and it's the sweetest thing because it's it's smooth but jerky at the same time and it spins you around. You're driving around and then all of a sudden it will pull you the other way, so you're squishing into each other. So he just loves it. And there's a video that you took here with our youngest and he has a huge grin on his face, so he was obviously loving it too.
I just enjoy watching it from the outside because all the cars are synchronized. Like they dance together, which is cool to see. And you don't quite get the full effect while you're riding the ride. It's hard to realize how in sync every single car is, and seeing it from the outside is pretty fun.
Then we went to World of Color. So I did the virtual queue at noon.
Yeah, I didn't even know they still had that, so that was cool.
You're welcome.
Thanks, dear.
And so did the virtual queue for World of Color. So we got a nice spot where we could see everything. Daniel and I could, but we had to hold our children for it. So that made it a little tougher.
Yeah.
So next time, I think I'll show up even earlier to see World of Color so that we can get a spot where the kids can be like in front of a railing or something so they can see it without us holding them.
Yeah, I was dying. I mean, our oldest, I had to hold him for a parade too on my shoulders. And I didn't think I was going to make it.
They liked it okay. I don't think they loved it. So it's a show where they spray water and then they project lights and like videos onto the water that's being sprayed. And it was Christmas themed. It was the same as last year. It was fun. I enjoyed it, but I did have the lighter kid to hold, so that was a little easier. And
yeah, as I was holding our oldest, he frequently would say how boring it was. And I was like, I'll push you down. And they'd be like, put me up.
And then after that is when we got the Yule log churro.
Gotcha.
And that I would give a 1 Shannon.
A 1?
Out of 5.
I'd give it like a 2. I wouldn't buy it again.
Never buy it again. Ever.
Well, I wouldn't buy it again. Either,
it was a chocolate churro and it just tasted burned. So
yeah, it was like a cheap Oreo type chocolate.
I think they overcooked it. So not my favorite. Our youngest, who's willing to try everything, I think he only took a few bites and then was done with it. He didn't like it either.
Yeah. I saw a living opossum crawl up a hill too. So that was a real big highlight for me. I'd never seen an opossum in the park, and
oh, that's right.
They're a top 5 animal for me. Mm-hmm. So I was super excited.
Yeah,
about that.
That was after Soarin'.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, is there? And I was like, I don't see.
There was an opossum.
Anything. I don't believe
6
you.
6 feet away from us, and it crawled into the bushes.
Yeah, so that was our first day. I think we called it a night around 9:30. I want to say maybe 10. No, we left before the park closed. So it was 9:30 that we were done because we saw the first World of Color and then got the churro and then headed out. And that's why we nap or have the kids nap in the afternoon so that we can pull a later night, because I refuse to be one of those parents who's making my child traipse through a theme park at night, late at night, and they're screaming their head off because they're so tired. And we encountered quite a few of them. So if you take your family to Disneyland and you have young children and you want to stay out late, give them a nap, please. I beg of you. Give them a nap. Like, our kids are 7 and 8. We nap them on our Disney days.
We nap ourselves.
Yeah, we do. Because it's like we want to extend our evening, so we take naps.
And then 3 days later, we returned to DCA for our second day.
2 days.
2 days later, we returned. And this...
Or after 2 days, we returned.
I think I wanted to get in Guardians of the Galaxy for sure, because I know it's not always a big hit for you all. And our oldest would have probably done it with me, but he wasn't going to wake up. So I went in and I rope dropped. It was just me by myself. I walked to the park. Everyone else was asleep.
I was awake, but could not leave 2 children in a hotel room.
And I got in and I thought, shoot, there's a lot of people here, because one of the things that I really wanted to try to do was get the first pickle of the day pin. And that's the pin where if you were the first person in the park to purchase a pickle that day, you get a special pin with the date on it commemorating your achievement. So I walked up to the stand. I was like, look, there's people. I was like, someone already bought a pickle, right? And the cast member looked at me and she said, nobody's bought a pickle yet. And I was like, I'll take one. Give me a pickle. And she's like, we only have the spicy ones. I was like, that's fine. I'll eat a spicy pickle for breakfast. Just give it to me. And it was refreshing. It was a real shock to the system to start my day that way. Then I went on Guardians of the Galaxy, had a blast, came back, and we started our day proper.
Yeah. So this day you went as Oswald. You had your Oswald ears, blue shorts, your cake-worthy black shirt with different characters on it, and your black and gold Spirit jersey.
I wore my Spirit jersey a good chunk of that day.
Yeah,
too. It was pretty chilly.
It was cloudy that day. So yeah, I think it only got up to high 60s instead of the 70s. I think our other days at the parks, minus Universal, were in the 70s. I went with my Spider-Man ears, my Spider-Man Spirit jersey that I got for $9 or something like that at the outlet store. Those are normally $79. And our youngest went with Spider-Man again and had Go Spider and Spin on it. And then our oldest went with his Captain America sweatshirt again.
I got to ride the trolley too.
Yeah, you did. We did not get to ride it with our boys though.
I really enjoyed it.
Because when you have a stroller, it's a little bit more challenging.
Were the pier games really the first thing our oldest and I did?
Yeah, so we headed straight down to the pier. So kind of what we started to do on these, actually, even on the first day, well, not Thanksgiving Day, but the first California Adventure Day, is we would let our kids pick, and then we'd be like, okay, now we're going to pick, because it was such a power struggle with our oldest. And so we were trying to let him choose things, and then we would choose things, and it still didn't go over great, but at least he felt like, okay, I got to choose some things. He just wanted to choose all the things. So we started down at the pier, because when we didn't rope drop, but usually everyone starts at the front of the park and they don't quite make it down to the pier. So we headed down there, and the youngest and I went on, I can't remember the name of the carousel.
Jesse's Critter Carousel.
Yes. So we went on that, and he loved it. It's a simple ride, and he just loved it. And Incredicoaster is closed.
Yeah, Incredicoaster was closed the entire time we were there. Which
it was under refurbishment, which is okay, because our youngest really wants to go on it, and he's not quite tall enough. So then I was kind of like, well, it's not even an option. But the Jack's Cookie Num Nums little stand was open, and so we got off Jesse's carousel, and the exit takes you by that. And so I was like, let's get a cookie. Yeah. And so him and I grabbed a cookie while Daniel and our oldest were still doing the, what are they called?
It's like the boardwalk games. They're the carnival games. And so he wanted to do one, and I was like, look, this one, if just the two of us play against each other, it's that one that you see at carnivals or fairs where you shoot a water gun at a target, and whoever's target goes up the fastest wins. It's a race. So it was a race game against our oldest and I. So one of us was going to win a prize. So I filmed myself demolishing him, and he was horribly disappointed, but I handed the prize over and he was fine. And then I decided to blow $5 and try another carnival game where I was trying to throw candy corn into Heimlich's mouth from A Bug's Life. And I even said, I was like, film me. So I handed our oldest the phone. He filmed me miss every single shot. It was so bad.
Oh, that's
And then we
great.
walked over and saw you guys eating a cookie.
Yeah. So Daniel got a few bites of that, and then we decided to go back onto the critter carousel.
Yeah, and I got to ride my skunk. That's my favorite thing in the critter carousel. Is there all these sort of Western creatures you can ride, like Western, I guess there's an ostrich, horses, deer, but the skunks in it are backwards compared to all the other animals, which is you ride the skunks backwards, which is funny.
And then we went and got breakfast. So we had not had breakfast yet. So we went and did that. And then we went back to the coffee cart that I can't remember the name of.
I think it's like the cappuccino cart. It's the Joffrey's coffee cart on the pier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we got their breakfast burrito.
Yeah, the steak and egg breakfast burrito with, is it chimichurro?
Yes. Chimichurri.
Chimichurri.
Yeah.
That was different, but it was good. I really enjoyed it.
What would you rate that?
I mean, it'd be a 4.
Okay.
For me, for Disney food.
I would rate it 3 just because there was cheese in it. So I had to pick that out. And there was a bit of a kick to it.
I preface this too with breakfast burritos in particular. I'm rating it on a Disney scale because when you're in Southern California, you can find bomb breakfast burritos anywhere that are better than anything you can get in Disneyland. Las Golondrinas Machaca burrito, better than anything in Disneyland. Oh, and we also got the Cafe de Ola cold brew there as well.
That was a 1, Shannon.
1.
It tasted like perfume.
I don't know if I'm going to give it a rating necessarily. I enjoyed it well enough because it was different. I like trying different things and having new experiences.
You have to give it a rating.
I'm a pretty rich person that way, that I like to experience things.
Experience things or food?
I like to experience all types of things, including food. But yeah, it had a real strong floral taste.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't terrible, but probably not.
It
something
was
I'd
terrible.
Get again. All right.
It was terrible. I wish we'd gotten
5
another
out of 5.
churro
Loved
toffee cold brew. That would have been much better. So then Daniel and our oldest.
I've listed next. The next food we got to have listed is the infusion cold brew. So we apparently did go get a better cold brew.
No, that was much later, but that's okay. So our oldest and Daniel went off to the Goofy Sky School because they were going to ride single rider, and our youngest was like, "Nope, I'm not going to do it." And so
again, we shaved 30 minutes off of our time doing that.
And then you did jumping jellyfish while you were over there. So
yeah. Oh, and the Silly Symphony swings. We got 3 rides in.
And the youngest and I did no rides again. Yeah, it's hard to get him to want to do things when the whole family's not together.
I have Mater's Jamboree listed for you.
Okay, so we wandered around Avengers Campus. I tried to convince him to go on different rides. He's like, no. Maybe I didn't film it, but we went into Avengers Campus and went and watched the Spider-Man show. But anyways, we went to Avengers Campus. Doctor Strange was walking through, and so we were like, "Hi, Doctor Strange," and there was no one around him. And to our youngest, I was like, "Do you want to get a picture with Doctor Strange?" And he hates characters. Like, he's terrified of them.
He's kind of spooked by him.
And he's like, "Yes." And I was like, "Oh." So I was like, "Can we get a picture with you?" And Doctor Strange was like, "Yes, come to the sanctum." So we followed him over to the sanctum and got a picture. So that was really fun. And I think he even smiled. Yep, he did. He even smiled for the picture. And then we went over to like that forced perspective spot on the ground where it makes it looks like there's a hole. And so you have to stand in a certain spot to take the picture, and then the other people have to stand in a certain spot on this weird looking floor, and it looks like they're falling into the hole. So our youngest had fun posing for pictures for that. And then we timed it to go see the Spider-Man show, which I think that was our second time seeing it. We saw it on both days. Well, the first time Spider-Man did not come down and see anyone. Like, he didn't come down the wall like he normally does. And then on our second day in California Adventure, he did his whole show and everything and came down and then just like walked by the line of people, gave high fives and left. So we didn't actually get to meet him.
Oh.
And the first show we went to, we were in the front, so we would have gotten high five. Mm-hmm. But this show, we were in like the back row. So I was so
bummer.
bummed for our youngest that he didn't get
It's his
to.
favorite. Spider-Man's his favorite.
Yeah, Spider-Man's his favorite. And then we did go on Junkyard Jamboree, which our youngest was laughing during. And
I love Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, so I'm
We-
bummed I didn't get on it.
yeah. And we had a fun time dancing to the music and the line. So I was trying to make things as lighthearted as possible for him because he can get moody and I don't really know why. And so he just had a blast just being silly
Yeah.
with me in line. Then love the ride because you're just being squished over and over
Yeah.
and he loves
I
that.
think he was pretty tired at this point in the trip. Like,
Yeah.
he was beat. We were doing a lot.
Because this is day 4.
Yeah, and we'd done Universal Studios the day before.
And the day before we did not have a stroller because Universal's smaller and there's escalators.
Yeah, a lot of escalators. Did we go see Viva Navidad after this? That's what I've got
No.
listed.
Nope.
I must have it in the wrong section.
So
Did
then
go to
we
the
went
Redwood?
to the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail again because our kids wanted to do a little bit more of that. We got the peppermint churro, which I'll give it a 5, Shannon's. It was good.
Hold on. Is this the day that we dropped the kids off at my...
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Oh, and
We'll
we
get to
did get
that.
the cold brew again. The infusion cold brew. Cinnamon and spice. Very good. I think I went and grabbed it after we saw the Wakanda Warriors too.
Oh, cool.
So we fit that in. So our youngest and I, we saw a lot of shows. Then we went to the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail because our kids want to do the running. We saw a kid puke.
Yeah, and the dad was
we-
just sitting there going, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I thought, well, of course the kid's not okay. He's puking. And, well,
Then-
karma kind of bit me a few days later on that one because I found myself in a very similar situation. But maybe we'll cover
and
that
you
later.
should have let him puke on the ground like that dad was.
No, he...
Anyway, so back to our fun stuff. So the kids were running around like crazy, and I had packed our rain ponchos along because I thought it looked cloudy that day and it was cooler. And I thought, you know what? It might rain. So I'm just going to pack the ponchos. And it worked out because our oldest was like, oh, if we have a poncho, I will go on the river. What is it called?
Grizzly River Run. I
Grizzly
forgot to write
River
that
Run.
down, yeah.
And so, yeah, we all put on ponchos and went on that.
First time as a full family on that ride. That was a lot of fun.
Yep. So we had a good time doing that. And then Daniel headed out with our kids because my wonderful mother-in-law said that she would watch the boys for the afternoon. And so Daniel headed down that way with them. Little did we know that traffic would be horrible.
Yeah, it's normally a 20-minute ride.
Yeah.
Back down to my parents' house and 20 minutes back. It was...
I think
I
you were gone over 2 hours.
It was bad. I couldn't believe it.
But the kids they kept on being like, we want to go to grandma's. We want to go to grandma's. We want to go to grandma's.
They were beat.
And it
yeah.
was like, yeah, we spent last week with family, but it's understandable that you want more time with family. And so it worked out for your mom to have them. Well, your mom and dad. And they had a great time down there.
Yep. They loved it.
So-
So I'm glad that they got a little extra time and very thankful for my parents for being able to watch them so we could get a little bit of a date that night.
Yeah. So then I grabbed a kid's meal at Flo's Cafe
Yum.
when Daniel
Chicken
headed
tenders.
out. Yep. Because I was like, nothing really sounds great. So grab that. I would give it a 2. It was like $9. So, get some food, get filled up. Went back to the hotel and worked on some other stuff. And then when Daniel made it back, I think around, was it 5? We raced to the park to get to Viva Navidad.
We were booking it to get to Viva Navidad at night.
So we got to see the tail end of it.
Yeah, those giant puppets are cool. Really impressive how large they are and how they
How
can control
fast they
them.
move.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there like a person driving it down
I'm
below?
not sure. It's got to be similar to the Electric Light Parade where I think there's someone inside, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, but they just like zip around. And it's just really fun, lively music, lots of lights and stuff. So at night, I almost like it more at night because there's so many lights.
Yeah.
But you can find it on YouTube if you want to see it. And then I have no idea what we got for food.
Oh, I
we
do.
finished the Sip and
Yeah,
Savor.
we finished up the Sip and Savor. Okay, I'll go down the list. The beef barbecue tamal, which I found out tamal is singular tamale.
Yeah.
So a tamal is one tamale. I wish it had been tamale.
Yeah.
I wish it had been the beef barbecue
I
tamale.
wish we had gotten a second one.
Yeah, that was really good. And you're not a big tamale fan either, are you?
I didn't used to be. I'm not a huge fan of like cornbread, cornmeal.
I think it really helped that it had the sour cream and the sauce on it too. The
It
salsa.
had salsa verde.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So the salsa verde was a bit spicy for my taste. I can't handle any spice. It was so moist and tender. The meat was great. Everything about it was phenomenal.
Yeah,
so
it was
it gets a star from us.
We then got the holiday empanada, which was essentially a deep fried empanada filled with Thanksgiving fixings. It had turkey, stuffing, gravy, I think. Was it a cranberry dipping sauce?
Yeah.
I like that way, way, way better than I was expecting.
Yes.
From everything we saw, I thought it was going to be just okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So I'd give that one a 5. Shannon's.
Then I got a churro
Daniel
ale.
refuses to rate these.
Sorry, beef barbecue tamal. I'll give 4.5. Have I given anything a 5? I feel
Yes.
I don't like giving star ratings. I just started rating
cold
movies
brew.
on Letterboxd.
You gave a cold brew a 5.
Well, that's different. Okay.
You could not stop talking about how amazing it was.
It was very tasty. The holiday empanada was also very tasty. 4.5 for that as well. I got a churro ale, 3-star, if you're going to make me give something. That was more just because it was a festive thing. It had a big layer of foam on top that was cinnamon flavored. Probably wouldn't get it again, but it was the right drink for that time. Did you taste it? I think you had a sip. 4 stars for you.
No.
Never.
I hate beer so much.
A Twix pie / tart.
Yeah, that was good.
That was really good.
Yeah, it was like chocolate ganache. So I found a Disney food with chocolate that tasted really good.
And it was Twix.
Yeah. No, it was a chocolate ganache on top. It was not it was not just Twix on top.
Then we tried the Southern mac and cheese. Way better than I was expecting. I'll give that one a 5-star.
I took a tiny bite.
It was very good.
Mm-hmm. It smelled amazing.
Very tasty. I put a star by it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got the Con Pon Pollo sandwich, which all of our YouTubers and loved. They
and
really,
Instagrammers
really
loved it.
It was fine.
It was awful.
Okay.
It was like eating chicken with like a tomato mayonnaise on it.
Normally that sounds great to me.
And it was just like mush.
Yeah,
it was all mush, and I was like, we should have used our last sip and savor for the tamal
2.5
to get
stars.
us a like negative stars.
Really, one extreme or the other with you.
I have issues with texture, and that was a texture that I couldn't handle.
Okay, and then what? We did the Little Mermaid?
We did the Little Mermaid.
We finally got on the Little Mermaid.
Oh, and we also did Toy Story Mania because I wanted to try to beat you at that one.
I don't have that listed.
And I did not beat you.
No, you did not.
No, not even close. That's why we have to do web slingers every time, so I at least can beat you at one.
Yeah, I'm done with my list. Is there anything else we did?
Yeah, you're missing some important stuff.
I didn't write anything else down.
So we decided to exit through the Grand Californian.
Oh yeah, I didn't write any of the Grand Californian stuff down. I've heard of that place.
So,
oh yeah, we heard the acapella. I hate acapella.
All right.
Unless it's Christmas music.
Anyway.
We went into the Grand Californian. It was beautiful. My bladder was going to explode.
So Daniel went to go find a bathroom. I went through the gift shop, had fun looking in there, found the ornament that we wanted to get, but we decided we didn't have time to buy it because we need to get going. They have a huge gingerbread house, though. So they have a gorgeous tree, which is really fun to look at. And then they have a beautiful gingerbread house. And they had a cappella Christmas carolers right in front of it. So we could not get a nice picture. So we got a very nice picture of the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just really cool because it's handmade. It's hand built. They bake all of the gingerbread themselves.
It's so cozy in there.
Mm-hmm. And the front has like the list of how many pounds of everything that they used. So we didn't get to see that, which was too bad. And then as we walked back to our hotel, we were at a crosswalk and we were stopped and we were waiting. And I look over and this person next to us has a blue and a yellow shoe on. And I thought, I know someone that wears a blue and a yellow shoe. And so I look up at the person and it's Chris from what is it?
Park Provost?
From Provost
Park Pass.
There we go.
Really? Chris, if you ever listen to this, we're big fans.
Provost Park Pass. And I was just like, I wanted to go say hi. And then the walk sign turned on and he just took off. And I was like,
He looked tired and I didn't want to bug him.
Yeah,
too,
he looked really tired. And so we just kind of
We were
like
starstruck,
slowly
yeah.
walked behind him because I was like, I don't want to pass him and be like, hey, we love your channel, and then be stuck like right in front of him. So we just end up awkwardly walking behind him. And I think he kept expecting us to pass him because he'd kind of like turn. He was talking on the phone too, which is
Yeah.
another reason why I didn't want to say
I
hi.
didn't want to interrupt.
I didn't want to interrupt that. So we just,
Full on starstruck
in
the whole way
awkward
back.
Daniel fashion, we just, stayed 5 feet behind him.
Just expecting him to say hello when we are completely behind him and he doesn't know us.
But I was like, Daniel, it's Chris.
Yeah,
and he's like,
that was-
Chris who?
That was cool. It was nice to see him.
Yep,
Because
so
he's
that
such
is
a kind and optimistic person.
He is. We have enjoyed his channel. I think, he did the Parks Around the World.
Mm-hmm. He is one of the big reasons why I decided to for sure try the canoes this trip, which we'll talk about next episode.
That's right.
Because he did it in Tokyo Disney. And
Okay, you're going to talk about it now.
that's it. That's all I'm going to say now.
Yeah, so we love his channel, Provost Park Pass. You get starstruck, and then I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, but then we headed down and got the kids, grabbed me in and out because I hated that last, I can't remember the name of it, that Con Pollo
Con Pollo.
Yeah, so I can't say it at all. Yeah. So that was our 2 days in California Adventure.
Yep.
They were packed. We didn't you rope drop one, but the kids and I did not rope drop either. And we didn't stay till closing either night.
Yeah.
So and we took, you had a rest in the car. Not really.
No, sitting in traffic was not resting in the car. Me
I
contemplating breaking the law and going to the HOV lane with just me in the car was not relaxing.
Our youngest did fall asleep though, so he got a nap in the car. I did take a nap at the hotel because I still was waking up because someone would snore frequently throughout the night.
Oldest, just ridiculous.
So that even though we had a king bed, it still wasn't perfect.
I don't remember that.
But anyway, we had a good 2 days in California Adventure. We did not get all the rides done. We didn't do all the things. We didn't eat all the foods, but that's okay.
That's okay.
We have good memories.
And we're going back
from
next month. So
And the part of me regrets that. But when you've already booked a trip, you go with it.
we got to celebrate. It's my year.
It is. It is Lunar New Year next month. We have good memories from that trip.
Yep.
From California Adventure.
That's right. Next episode, we're going to be going over our Disneyland days. And then at some point, we'll go over the Universal Studio Day.
And Goofy's Kitchen.
That's right.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you all so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, or even if you didn't, please leave a comment, rate on any of your podcasting listening platforms. Follow us on social media. You can find us at most platforms, primarily on TikTok, but we are almost everywhere else at OfMiceandMatterhorns, except on X/Twitter. We are at OfMiceandMatterhorns. But yeah, feel free to shoot us a message if you want to email us any questions of miceandmatterhorns@gmail.com, because we would love to feature them on the episode. Thank you all very much. And as always,
have a Disney day.
Your attention, please. Of Mice and Matterhorns has now ended its normal operating episode. We thank you for your visit to our podcast and hope that the memories that you made will bring you back soon.